Howdy Meeps, Rigaroga here, and today, after unboxing the fulfillment for the Night Cage, I am going to go ahead and go through the rulebook and setup, and then I may split it into a separate video, but we'll do an actual let's play. And the one thing I actually, as I was sort of checking my space and stuff, I noticed that, and I had forgotten, but I think you can see that there's actually glossy embossing on the lettering for Night Cage, and also on the light part and the hand of this candle. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera enough. There, you can see how it's reflective. See the embossing? And then it's also on the, it's a little less obvious, but it's on the lettering as well. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. Let's open it up. Let's go through and set up. Open the box, and here's everything that's in the box. And if you want a closer look at everything, as I open it the first time, take a look at the unboxing video. But let's switch over to the PDF for the rules and setup. So this is the Night Cage. It's from Smirk and Dagger or Smirk and Laughter Games, one or the other, or both. I think it's Smirk and Dagger. They've got two names. Anyhow, so it's Night Cage, McMahon, Chan, Saunders. Chan is also the illustrator, and this is the rule book. It's for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and plus, and play lasts for about 50 minutes, it says. You awake in the dark, your body cold, your mind blank. You have nothing but your fear, your candle, and a question. How long will your light last? And there's the prisoner with a candle. Oh, that's so sad. Overview. Whoa. You awake to discover that you and several others are imprisoned within a pitch-black labyrinth. The rough-hewn stone passages provide barely enough room to crawl through, and the walls claw at your skin as you pass. Equipped with nothing but dim candles, you must work together to explore the maze and escape. Distressingly, the weak candlelight only illuminates your immediate surroundings. Worse still, you're beginning to suspect something else is moving in the suffocating darkness, just beyond the flickers of your candle, and it despises the light. Night Cage is a cooperative tile placement game that traps 1 to 5 lost souls within an ever-changing labyrinth of eternal darkness. Each prisoner has nothing but a candle to aid them in their escape, but its weak light can only illuminate the passages directly adjacent to them. As players move, new pathways are revealed while old ones disappear, consumed in the darkness forever. Every move will require thoughtful consideration and collective strategy to keep your candles burning long enough to find the way out. Object. To win, each prisoner must first collect a key. That accomplished, the group must find and make their way to a single gate. Only when assembled there together can the gate be unlocked by turning the keys in unison, escaping the Night Cage. The prisoners lose if all 4 gate tiles have been lost. The prisoners cannot each collect a key. The prisoners cannot all bring their keys to a gate before the darkness isolates them. Which is interesting because I seem to remember that on the tile for the 5-player game, there's only 4 keys. Is that right? Or 4 gates. Maybe it's the 4 gates. Well, that would make sense. Okay. Anyhow, so the next is the contents. So we have the double-sided game board, which is one side is for 1 to 4 players, and then the other side is 1 to 5, and it has more tile spaces. There's start tiles, key tiles, gate tiles, wax eater tiles, straight passages, 32 T passages, 12 four-way passages, 14 nerve tokens, 4th prisoner marker, 5 prisoner tokens, 1 double-sided discard board, which you don't discard the board. It's for discarded tiles. 5 prisoner status cards, the tile holder, 5 key tokens, 8 keepers, 3 pit fiends, 5 omens, 3 pathless, and 1 dirge. Prisoner materials. Each prisoner in the game needs a prisoner status card and a candle-shaped prisoner token of the same color. Each prisoner also begins with 1 nerve token and a starting tile. So you can see the meeple, the status card, starting tile, and nerve token illustrated in the upper corner. 1 to 4 player games, which is what I'm going to be doing. Use the 6x6 grid side of the game board. Remove 2 keys from the pool of tiles and place them in the box. Your tile count should contain 6 keys and 12 wax eaters. Whether there is just 1 player or up to 4 players, there are always 4 prisoners, each requiring a full set of prisoner materials set around the board. 1 player game. The player controls all 4 prisoners, each taking a turn for each. 2 players. Each player controls 2 prisoners. And then in a 3-player game, each player controls their own prisoner, with the 4th prisoner being a dummy player. Control of the 4th prisoner is shared. Oh, and then you use that 4th prisoner marker to determine who moves it. Ah, interesting. And then 4-player games, each player controls 1 prisoner. In 5-player games, each player controls 1 prisoner, and then you use the 7x7 side of the game board. Remove 1 key, 2 wax eaters from the pool, and your tile key. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and then assemble the tile holder. Okay, so let's go to the table for a second. And let's open up. So here are the meeples. Here's I have the all in, so I have an acrylic upgrade to a bunch of the pieces. So here are the tiles. Here, we're going to put all of this over here for right now. Woo! Okay, safety tip. Remember to seal the little doohickey on the doohickey dicky. And the keys. These are the cardboard versions of acrylic upgrades, so I'm just going to leave those in the box. And then there's the box, which is super cool. There is the rule book, but I'm using the PDF right now, so I'm going to risk leaving that in there. And then put all of that in. Okay. So we're going to open this up to the 1 to 4 players. And we're going to put it right there. And it's a 6x6 grid. You can see, I mean, I showed this during the unboxing, but the 5-player grid is 7x7. Okay. And then let's move all of this over here. For a moment. Let's assemble our card candle thingy, bob. And then I think we're going to put that up here. And we'll figure out what tiles go in there in a moment. And then let's open up our meeples. So, does it matter which? I don't think it matters which color. So we'll leave red out, I guess, for right now. So let's see. So we've got purple, green, blue. So yellow, purple, green, and blue. So yellow, purple, green, blue. And we'll put that meeple back. And we'll put this card back. And we will not need that, but we do have nerve tokens. So my pile of nerve tokens will be over here, but we'll give one nerve token to each player. And should I use this to mark whose turn it is? Maybe not. Okay, so we'll put that away. Okay, so back to the rules. Did I do everything that was on there? Oh, starting tiles. So we'll have to remember to keep the these sorted properly. And looking for the starting tiles. Looking for the starting tiles. They will, of course, be the last ones I find. And there's another one. Okay. So we've got our 4 starting tiles. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I think that's everything. Let's go back to the PDF. And so we're going to insert the candle sides, slot the floor of the candle as shown. Okay. Place the game board in the center of the table. I've done that. Place the metal key tokens on the corner of the board. Okay, so keys are over here. Oh, and then I guess there is a spot for the nerves on the board. So that's cool. So let's put those there. And for 1 to 4 players, set aside 4 T tiles. T. So the 4 T tiles. 2 4-way tiles. And 2 straight tiles. And where are the straight tiles? Straight but not narrow tiles. Okay. Let's see. Place all the these are the opening tiles. Stack them face down with the pit. Okay, so these are the opening tiles, and we're gonna shuffle them, and it should be shuffled. Okay. So hopefully that's shuffled enough, and that's going to be our starting stack. Place all the remaining tiles face down in a pile with the pit side facing up, and then mix them thoroughly. Then stack them at random into the tile holder, keeping them face down. When all the tiles have been placed into the holder, add the stack of opening tiles at the top. Except I don't think that that's right. Aren't I supposed to... Yeah, so what it should tell me here, I'm going to quickly switch over. So there's actually this discard pile for 4 prisoners, and it's 4 starting tiles, 4 gates, 6 keys, and then 10 straights, 12 crossroads, and 30 T-bends, and then 12 wax eaters, and then there are advanced rules. So I don't actually want all of them. I want 30 total T-bends, 12 crossroads, 10 straights, 12 crossroads. Okay, so 6 keys, 12 wax eaters, no keepers, no pit fiends, 2 pathless, and I had 6 in there. 3. And then 2 omens. So these are the starting ones, which I need to shuffle again now. And then these. So let's see. In a pile with the pit side facing up, mix them thoroughly, right? Okay, back in our candle. And then our starting set at the top. Okay. Okay, PDF. So there's our setup for our 4. Oh, we've got our discard board. And then our extra tiles. And our metal keys. And our nerves. Okay. Stack them at random in the tile. Keep them face down. When all the tiles have been placed into the holder, add the stack of opening tiles. Then place the tile holder near the board in easy reach of all players. The tiles in the holder are called the draw stack. They represent the remaining candlelight and any hope of escape. Conserve their use. When all the tiles have been drawn, you can no longer illuminate new passages. See final flickers on page 15. Place the discard board with the correct player count facing up in order to quickly identify the number of gates, keys, and monsters encountered. It will help you strategize as well as let you know if the game is already lost. You may count them at any time during play. Help resort tiles for the next game. Yeah, so it should have said something about setting up how many tiles are going to be in your draw stack based on your discards, but it did not. But that's what we did. The owner or host of the game will be the first player, and play will proceed clockwise throughout the game. In the 3-player game, give them a shared 4th prisoner marker to start the game. Okay. And I think we're done with that. So let's go to the next page. A cage without bars. The edges of the board wrap around to their opposite side in an infinite loop of impenetrable darkness. Prisoners can freely travel from edge to edge. When you arrive at an edge, illuminate any relevant tiles on the opposite side as well. You are never far from the other prisoners or the dangers they may discover. Likewise, monsters are not limited by the edge of the board and may attack along connected passages from one side to the other. Prisoners' starting positions. On each prisoner's first turn, they will do the following. Choose any unoccupied spot on the board. Figure 1. Red chooses a spot on the board. Places their starting tile on that spot and rotate it as desired. Figure 2. So you figure 2 is red places and orients their starting tile as desired. Okay. Because there's 2 pathways out of each starting tile. Okay. Place their prisoner token on the starting tile, figure 3. Okay. Then, one at a time, draw a tile from the tile holder and flip it face up to examine it. Choose a space that your starting tile exits onto and place the tile so that the passages connect, otherwise orienting it as you like. And it's each passage from your starting thingy-mabob. Okay. Once all prisoners in turn have completed these actions, the game may begin. Fact on starting position. Can I connect my starting tile to another prisoner's corridors? Yes. You can place your start tile in any unoccupied space. Doing so and staying closer to other players can reduce the number of tiles drawn. On the other hand, staying close together increases the chances of monsters striking more than one player. It is a delicate balance. Can I place my starting tile next to a dead end? You may. It forms an impenetrable wall, and even if the light of the player in that passage moves away, the light of your candle against the dead-end wall will keep the tile in place. This is true of any tile you place during the game. Can I start completely dead-ended? Yes, though it will likely be a disadvantage. You will be unable to move from this spot and will fall through a pit on your first turn. See page 10. So if you want to die quickly, you can block yourself off completely. Light and darkness. A prisoner's candle can only illuminate connected passages in a 1 space radius around your current position. Okay, figure 1. Diagonal spaces are not illuminated. When you move, the radius of your candlelight moves with you, revealing new passages. Any tile passing too far outside of your candlelight is lost to the darkness and discarded forever. This means if you retraced your steps, the pathway would be changed completely, making the labyrinth an ever-changing and distinctly unnatural place. Adjacent tiles not connected to you by a passage should also be discarded. However, adjacent tiles that are blocking a passage remain, since you can still see the wall they create. Okay, playing the game, exploring the maze. Starting with the first player and proceeding clockwise, each prisoner will take a turn. As this is a cooperative game, discussions on strategy are encouraged, but all final decisions fall upon the player controlling the prisoner. Each turn you must choose to move or stay. You flip over the player dashboard when the lights go out. Interesting. Okay. So, move or stay. You will almost always move. Choosing to stay is a more strategic decision based on board conditions that will become clearer a few turns into the game. Staying. You are choosing not to move, and you remain in the space you currently occupy. Gain 1 nerve token. Staying still burns wax. Discard 1 tile from the draw stack face up, so you can see what was lost to the darkness, and place it on the discard board. 2A, important. If the tile you would discard is a monster, do not discard it. Instead, you must replace one of the tiles connected to you with the monster tile. Note, staying does not trigger monster attacks. So you place it, but it doesn't trigger an attack. If you stay on a crumbling tile, you fall when it crumbles this turn. See pits. Falling can trigger monster attacks. Your turn ends and play passes clockwise. Moving. You will move 1 space along any passage onto a connected tile. Note, passages are too narrow to have more than 1 prisoner on the same tile. Gate tiles are the only exception. Any number of prisoners may occupy a gate tile at the same time. Okay. After moving, remove all tiles no longer illuminated and place them on the discard board. Next, illuminate the new passages. Tiles are drawn and placed 1 at a time. Draw 1 tile from your draw stack for each open passage leading from your new space. Flip it face up and look at it to choose which open space to place it on. Excuse me. No tiles are drawn for any passages already illuminated by another prisoner. Okay. Tiles may be placed in any orientation as long as the passageway connects to your current tile. That example illustration is wrong. Because it shows the first and fourth tile orientation. It's saying that one is legal and the other one is illegal, but it should actually be flipped so that it blocks off. So you can't block yourself in. Yeah, so that the fourth example down at the bottom there, the tile that's illegal is actually flipped vertically so that it would block off the passage to the meeple. So that's a typo or a illustrato. Remove all tiles no longer illuminated and place on discard board. Your turn ends and play passes clockwise. Whew. I don't have enough oxygen. Okay. Crumbling tiles and pits. Starting tiles, straight passages, 2 of the T tiles and key tiles all show thin cracking lines around them. These are crumbling tiles. Tiles collapse into pits 1 turn after you step on them. Oh. See, okay, it should have said that I didn't pick any crumbling tiles in my initial set, I think. That's tricky. So in that initial 8, I don't think I should have made sure that there were no crumbling tiles. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so that's a wrinkle to consider. You need to make sure that your starting tiles, none of them are crumbly. The first 8, except for the straight tiles, which all of them are. And then the first 8. Okay. Okay. Starting tiles, straight passages, 2 of the T tiles. Oh, see, it says all of the straight passages. Okay, so, and the key tiles are shown, all show thin crack lines around them. These are crumbling tiles. So you want to make sure that the 2 T tiles that are crumbly aren't in the starting thing. Okay. Crumbling tiles collapse into pits the turn after you step on them. When a pit forms, flip the tile over to reveal the pit graphic on the back. If you decide to move, it collapses as you scramble onto the next tile. Red moves off the crumbling tile. Crumbling tile is flipped to form a pit as red scrambles forward. If you decide to stay, you fall into the pit on this turn. If red stays, the pit forms beneath them and they fall. Pits remain until they are no longer illuminated and then are removed as normal. Falling. Falling into a pit does not mean certain death. On the contrary, at times, it is even helpful. In this unnatural place, you will eventually fall right back into the labyrinth. A prisoner may even choose to jump into an adjacent pit they are connected to. Whether you leap into the pit by moving onto a pit space or by having one form beneath you when you stay, falling into a pit will end your turn. You will fall through blackness and void off the board until the beginning of your next turn. Place your prisoner token along the board edge, either by the edge of the row or column you once occupied. Discard any tiles no longer illuminated by your light. At the start of your next turn, choose an empty, unlit space along the row or column you choose. Is it you choose or you chose? You chose. Sorry. It's can't read. Draw a tile to land upon and place your prisoner token on it. Illuminate any unlit connected spaces around you, then take your turn as normal. Okay, yeah, so when you fall, you decide whether you're going to arrive in the column or row, and so things could change between the time that you fall in and you fall back into the labyrinth. There are, however, two dangers that may await you. If you land on a monster, it immediately attacks before you illuminate beyond the tile you landed on. After the attack and suffering its penalties, move onto an existing adjacent tile or draw a new tile to move on into an unlit space. If you are falling and there are no tiles in the draw stack left to land on, you fall in darkness forever and the game ends in a loss. If you are falling and there are no empty spaces, highly unlikely to land on an existing tile. Key tiles. Key tiles are drawn and placed like any other tile. To escape, each prisoner must recover a key from one of the key tiles. To claim a key, simply move onto the key tile and place a metal key token from the reserve next to your prisoner status card as a free action. A player can only carry a single key at a time, as your other hand holds the candle. Therefore, a prisoner who reveals a key tile when they already hold a key is faced with a dilemma. If you walk away and no longer illuminate the space, the key will be lost. Additionally, key tiles are crumbling, so if you walk through the space, the key will be lost when the tile becomes a pit next turn. If you block the only passage to the key, no one else can get to it. However, if a prisoner may pass a held key to another prisoner if on one of the prisoner's turns they are adjacent to each other and connected by a passage. Passing a key is a free action. Gate tiles. You can only escape the night cage through a gate. Gate tiles are drawn and placed like any other tile. The gate is the only tile in the game that can be occupied by multiple prisoners at the same time. To win, all prisoners must gather on the same gate at the same time with their keys in hand to escape. If all gates are lost to the darkness, there can be no escape and you lose the game. Wax eaters and other monsters. Wax eaters roam the labyrinth, nightmarish monsters that despise the light and attack any soul that moves in their presence. They are the only monsters inhabiting the core game, but they are to be avoided at all costs. Oh, so I wasn't adding pit fiends, pathless and omens. If I draw them, I'll just discard them. We'll play the base game. Once placed, wax eaters are motion sensitive. They're drawn and placed like any other tile. Once placed, wax eaters are motion sensitive. They will attack anytime a prisoner moves along, into or out of a pathway connected to them in a straight line. They will attack anytime a prisoner moves along, into, or out of a pathway connected to them in a straight line. Wow, they're rooks. Wax eaters attack in all four directions simultaneously as far as they can reach down an uninterrupted pathway, including around the wrapping edge of the board. An empty space without a tile creates an interruption that the monster cannot see past. Likewise, pits interrupt the pathway, and therefore a monster will not trigger nor strike a prisoner across an existing pit. Okay, the attack. So there's some examples on. Monsters are triggered to attack when a prisoner moves within their line of sight by falling onto one and or in a chain reaction where another monster's attack hits them. Moving in line of sight. While movement in their line of sight triggers an attack, moving out of a monster's line of attack evades their strike and its penalties. Wait, but it just said... So moving out triggers it, so you might trigger an attack on other players. And it triggers before they're discarded. This is true of falling through a crumbling tile or leaping into a pit as well. It's like taking a side passage. The monster will be triggered, but falling avoids the attack. Okay. Falling onto a monster. This triggers a monster immediately attacking the prisoner who landed on it and any prisoner in line of sight. After the attack, the falling prisoner scrambles to an adjacent space, either an existing tile or a newly drawn one. Chain reactions. If a wax eater's attack hits another monster, that monster also attacks in a chain reaction. A single player could move, triggering all monsters. Only the first player to move or fall can avoid being hit. Wow. Wow, that sucks. Okay, penalties. When a prisoner is struck by a wax eater's attack, either at range or by falling on one, discard the top 3 tiles from the draw stack face up. That prisoner goes lights out, which is the opposite side of the card. These penalties are incurred for each prisoner hit by a given monster. Multiple prisoners can be hit at the same time, and or a prisoner can be hit by multiple monsters, leading to a massive amount of tiles discarded from the draw stack. Such a large loss of tiles risks discarding critical tiles needed to win, or simply devour so much wax that your lights will fail before you can escape. Flip your status card. You are alone in the dark. Discard all tiles not illuminated by other prisoners, other than your own, the one you're on. Lights out. When struck by a wax eater attack, a prisoner goes lights out. Flip your prisoner to its light outside. With your candle extinguished, you can no longer perceive anything beyond the tile you occupy. Remove all tiles that you had been illuminating, unless they are still lit by another player with a candle. Going light out comes with penalties. You are now panicked and compelled to move every turn. You may not stay unless you spend a nerve. Without light, you move forward blind to the dangers ahead. When you move, draw a tile only for the space you move into and discard the tile from the space you left if no one else illuminates it. As always, your new tile must be oriented so that it connects to your previous location. If you move onto a monster tile, the monster attacks immediately, hitting you and any other connected prisoners. You remain lights out, discard 3 tiles, and immediately scramble onto an existing adjacent tile or a newly drawn one. Relighting. When a lights out prisoner becomes adjacent via a connecting passage to a prisoner with a lit candle, their candle is automatically relit. This may happen on either of the player's turns. When a prisoner is relit, the player whose turn it is, draws the tiles to fill up in newly illuminated passages at the end of that turn. Flip their status card to the lit side. Nerve. All prisoners begin the game with a nerve token. Additional nerve can be gained when a prisoner chooses to stay on their turn up to a limit of 2 nerve. Nerve can be spent to gain temporary advantages, bending the rules to your benefit. One or both of your nerve tokens can be used on your turn. Move, or charge block, for example. Spend 1 nerve to move again. You may spend 1 or both nerves in this way. Stay. When you are lights out or otherwise could not, you do not gain a nerve for staying. Block. Discard only 2 tiles instead of 3 when hit by a monster attack. Charge. You may deliberately move onto a monster tile, immediately suffering its attack and going lights out, therefore not illuminating unlit spaces adjacent to it. You move onto an existing or newly drawn tile. Sustain. During final flickers, skip removing an illuminated tile from the board after your turn. Final flickers. No candle burns forever. When the draw stack is empty, prisoners have only the final flickers of their light to move their escape. No new tiles can be added to the board. However, play continues with prisoners using any tiles still left on the board. Oops, I gotta be more careful. At the end of every prisoner's turn, after removing tiles that are no longer illuminated, you must also remove 1 additional tile from anywhere on the board unless a nerve was spent to prevent this. A monster can be removed in this way. Important. During final flickers, the additional tile is removed from the board only after all extra moves are made through spending nerve. The encroaching darkness may isolate a prisoner. as they find themselves cut off and unable to bring their key to the gate with the others. Or a falling prisoner may end up unable to draw a tile to land upon and keep falling forever. If either of these fates occur, you simply lose too many keys or gates, the players lose the game, consumed by eternal darkness. Whew. And the advanced game. I'm going to skip the advanced game. But you add keepers and pit fiends, yeah, so you add 6 keepers as well as 2 pit fiends. And then keepers, you have to defeat them in... Oh, they have a facing. And then pit fiends are diagonal. There's bishops. Oh, wow. Okay. And it creates pits in all of them. Wow. And then adjusting difficulty. Night Cage is intended to be difficult to win, but you can make simple tweaks to adjust the difficulty for your specific group. To increase the difficulty, try removing a single key or gate tile from the recommended number, or both if you are a glutton for punishment. To make things easier, adding a key tile or 2 to the recommended number will make a big difference. Boss monsters. You can add further to the challenges of the standard or advanced game with the inclusion of one or both boss monsters, the Pathless and the Dirge. The boss monsters have overpowered abilities designed to create dread and spark new strategies in anticipation of their arrival. So there's the Pathless, which do all kinds of weird things, and then the Dirge. Oh, the Dirge is that's this colossal board. That's this thing. This like double wackiness. Okay, so the omens, you place it alongside the board, and when the second one both signal the arrival of the Dirge and serve as an anchor point for placement of the oversized Dirge token. Wow. Wild. Okay. And Dirge continued. Okay. Whew. And here is my reference for the play proceeding. All right, so that is all of the rules. Now I'm gonna try and play. Yeah, so those are the rules and setup, and so I'm gonna go ahead and in this session with setup and rules, and then I'm gonna do the playthrough as the next video. So I'm going to go ahead and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to check out the next one with the actual play, or go all the way back and watch the unboxing as well. So thanks, and see you next time.